trial and improvement. To do trial and improvement, you need a table to work from, to be systematic. Better than that. So the first one is your x value. The second one is what your calculation is, what you work it out to be. And then your third one is your comment. So first of all, I need to have a guess. I'm going to go with 4. So if I put in 4 squared minus 5 fours plus 5, that gives me 1. The comment is to say that that is too high. So I need to go for a smaller number. Let's try 3. Don't try and be smart and go to 3.72 here. That's not the objective. Very good, but it's not going to get you the marks, unfortunately. So then you do 3 squared, which is 9. Take away 5 threes, which are 15. So 9 take away 15 is negative 6. Plus 5 is negative 1. So that there is too low. And then your obvious guess would be to go 3.5 must be the answer. So if you do 3.5 squared, you don't have to, and you won't get marks for doing this every time, but I would do it to begin with. And then afterward, I'll just put it in the calculator and get your values. So 3.5 squared minus 5 times 3.5, and then plus the 5. That gives me negative 0.25. Unfortunately, that is still too low. How do I know if it's too high or too low? We didn't make that clear. I want this here to be equal to 0 because the equation has to be equal to 0. So when it was 1, it was above 0, so too high. When it was negative 1, it was too low. And still negative, so it's still too low. I'm going to go to 3.7. If I put in 3.7, I get 0.19. That's too high. So 3.6 went a wee bit too far. So 3.6 squared I get minus 0.04. That's too low. You can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to trap it or try and fix it between two values. So first of all, you're going to get a mark for getting it's between 3 and 4. And now you're going to get a mark for knowing it's between 3.6 and 3.7. You do not just now say, I think it's going to be 3.6. Good chance it is going to be 3.6, but to decide between these two, you need to get a midpoint, a middle value. At the minute, you know the answer is between 3.6 and 3.7, but you don't know exactly where. So test 3.65. That gives you a positive number, 0.0725, and that's too high. So your answer, if you were to keep going forever and ever and try and get the exact answer, it's going to be somewhere between 3.6 and 3.65. Now, any answer in there, when you round it to one decimal place, which is what we're working to, only to 1 dp, would be 3.6. On the inequalities, we have to solve and mark on the number line the solutions to 3x minus 1 is less than 8. So 3x minus 1 is less than 8. Add 1 to both sides. 3x is less than 9. And divide both sides by 3. And you get that x is less than 3. On a number line then, what that would look like. You draw your number line, if I can do that. Key point is 3. The b number's below it, numbers above it, but the key point is 3. And x is less than 3, so you start at 3, and any number less than that is going down the way. If you colour it in, it means it can be equal to 3, so it's left empty or blank to indicate that x is less than 3, but not equal to 3. The remainder of the inequalities questions then are to do with marking a region R on a graph. So we need to draw graphs for this. You'll have to just bear with the quality of the graphs here. So I'm going to do these to the side. The first one being x between -3 and 5. So x is between -3 and 5, and I think it could be equal to 5. Sorry, equal to -3. Yeah. So on a graph, what that looks like, the x values are along here, and there's one at 5 is key. You separate that inequality into two bits. You could say that the x value has to be bigger than or greater than or equal to -3, and x has to be less than 5. We can draw this line x equals 5, dashed because it can't actually equal 5. There's no equal part there. And the other one's -3. So go to -3, and then that's another borderline. And it is actually solid because x can equal -3. So ignore the dashes there. Then, where can x be here? X is bigger, it's greater than -3, so it's to the right, but it's less than 5, so it's to the left. It's in here. That's the correct region. And then everything else is wrong. That's the first one. The next one is y is greater than 3x minus 2. Y is greater than 3x minus 2. You need to draw the line. There's lines drawn there, I just knew them from memory, but for this one, we're going to need to figure out what the line is. You need to actually get a wee table of values for that. And you're drawing the line y equals 3x minus 2. 0, 1, 2 are x values, and then you try and find out what the y values would be. If x is 0, y is 3 zeros, which is 0, take away 2, which gives you minus 2. When x is 1, y would be 3 ones, which are 3, take away 2, which gives 1. And when x is 2, y would be 3 twos, which are 6, take away 2, which gives 4. Now, you could do a lot better job than me on this. But you're going to plot 0, minus 2 along the corridor 0 down to minus 2, 1, 1, and 2, 4. And it's a straight line. It's going to be dashed, however, because there's no equals in that inequality. We want to mark the region where y is greater than 3x minus 2. So we pick a point to check where the region is at. I'm going to pick this point 0, 0. And I'm going to check, is 0 greater than 3 zeros take away 2? So what I've done there is I've got this inequality, and I've replaced the y and the x with 0, 0, which is this point. If I simplify that, I get that 0 is greater than minus 2. And that is right. That is correct. So where this point is, above the line, is the correct region. It's right. So big R for that. Maybe not so much of it over the line. And that means the other side, we discard it. It's not right. Okay? And the last one is x minus y is greater than 5. X minus y is greater than 5. We need to draw the line x minus y equals 5. That'll be the boundary. To do that, you need a table of values. X and y are on the same side, so I'm going to do 0, 0. When x is 0, minus y is 5. So y would be minus 5. And when y is 0, x is 5. So if we were to draw that, we'd have our minus 5 here, 0, minus 5, and 5, 0 here. And our line, it's not going to be solid. I don't think it said, look at the question. Yep, not equal to, so it's going to be a dashed line. straight with a ruler, preferably. And then we choose the point 0, 0 again, just check, is that the correct region? So if we look at the inequality, we're going to replace the inequality with 0, 0 for x and y. So is 0 take away 0 greater than 5? Is 0 greater than 5? The answer is no, it's not. So that's the wrong region. The right region must be on the other side. Okay, next section then is changing the subject of the formula. So we have here, we have to make x the subject of the formula each time. So the first one, you would take a from both sides to get s minus a equals tx, and then divide both sides by t to get the left-hand side s minus a divided by t. You can then rearrange that to the other side if you wanted to, but it's okay the way it is. Some prefer to have the x equals on the left. You wouldn't get marked down, but that's preferable. On the second one, you need to subtract v from both sides. So you get t minus v, and then you'd have to multiply both sides by 3. And because you're multiplying the full right-hand side, it has to be in brackets. You could expand that bracket out if you want, but you don't need to. That would get you the full marks. On the next one, you've got a negative x squared there. I prefer to just make that positive first. So add x squared to both sides, and then take off y from both sides. And if x squared is 5 minus y, x is the square root of that. So you square root both sides. And you're square rooting the full side, so the whole 5 minus y is under the square root. On the last one, I would expand out the bracket. There's two methods, but I would expand out the bracket. 3 times x is 3x, 3 times a is 3a, and then get 3x on its own by taking away 3a from both sides, and then get x equals by dividing both sides by 3. There is another possible answer for that, by the way. It might be written like so, and that is also, they're both fine. On to 23 then, we're creating expressions and equations. In the triangle ABC, AB equals AC. Try and mark things on that you're told. You can now identify that's an isosceles triangle. The perimeter is 24. Form an equation. So the perimeter is the 3 sides added together. X plus 6 equals 24. That's an equation. Part B. Solve your equation and hence find the length of AB. Well, if I simplify that first, that's 2x plus 6 equals 24. I can subtract 6 from both sides to get 2x equals 18, and divide by 2 to get x equals 9. And 9 is the length of AB, so that's your answer. 24. A bun costs x pence and a cake costs 5 pence more than a bun. 4 cakes and 3 buns altogether cost £3.21. Express the cost of a cake in terms of x. Well, a bun is x pence, a cake is 5 pence more than a bun. So 5 more than x would be x plus 5. So remember, that's the cake price. Part B. Write down an expression for the cost of 4 cakes. Well, a cake, that's the cost of 1 cake. So 4 cakes would be 4 of that. And if you expand that bracket out, you'd get 4x plus 20. It doesn't say, but I would expand out just to make sure. It says then on part 2 to write down an expression for the cost of 3 buns. 1 bun is x, so 3 buns would be 3x. It then asks you in part C to form an equation in x and solve it. How much does 1 bun cost? The bun being x. Well, the last sentence says 4 cakes, which is this. 4 cakes and 3 buns, so plus 3 buns was 3x. Altogether cost £3.21. The question's in pence and pounds. Let's keep it all consistent in pence. So equals 321. That's our equation. To solve that, I first of all would simplify. On the left-hand side, we've got 7x plus 20 is 321. Take 20 off both sides to get 7x equals 301, and then divide your 301 by 7 to get x is 43. So 1 bun cost 43 pence. 25. We have to find the volume of these shapes. To do this, I would cut them up into pieces, like so. And we'll get the area of the cross-section, get the area of these bits, and then go from there. So the area of A, it's 8 high, it's a rectangle, 8 high by 4 long, which is 32. It's 7 across, but this is 3, this wee bit's 3, so that's 4. The area of B is 3 by 4. If I can write the number 4, which is 12. So the area of the cross section, if I just bring you over here for a second, the volume of any prism is the area of the cross section times the length. The cross section in this case is this L shape, it's the two rectangles together. So the area of the cross section is 32 plus 12, which equals 44. So the volume is the area of the cross section, 44, times by its length, which is 3. You can see how far back it goes there. And that gives you 120, 130. 2 centimeters cubed. Part B, the area of that cross section is only one part, it's a triangle, so it'll be a half times the base, which is 4, times the height, which is 4.5. Half of 4 is 2, 2 4.5s is 9. So the volume is going to be the area of the cross section, 9 multiplied by its length, 5, which gives 45 centimeters cubed. And part C, we've got the area of the cross section again as a triangle, so it's a half times the base, which I would use as 12, and the height is 5. So the way I was looking at it is that's the base and that's the height, because they're at right angles to each other. I ignore the 13, it's not actually important. So half of 12 is 6, and 6 5s are 30. The volume then is the area of the cross section, which you worked out to be 30, multiplied by its length, which is 15, and that gives you 450 centimeters cubed. Part D. Becca buys a large tin of coffee. It is a cylinder with radius 7.5 centimeters. It is to, let's mark that on actually, 7.5. It is filled with a depth of 14. Work out the volume of the coffee in the tin. So the volume of a cylinder is the area of the cross section. In this case, the cross section is a circle. The area of a circle is pi r squared, multiplied by its length, which we'll call h for the height of that cylinder. So we do pi, we multiply it by 7.5 squared, and we multiply that by 14. And that gives 2474.0 to 1 dp. Doesn't say anything about rounding, so we'll just leave it as that. And the units, then it's in centimeters, so this is cubic.